So with that, Brock, your website, LASTCAR.info. Let's get to the elephant in the room. You guys give out an award each year, and tell us about last year on the Xfinity side. What happened?
Well, you're putting me on the spot. I wasn't gonna bring this up voluntarily, but we do cover the last place finisher on the website, and we talk about. It's a great framework to talk about a part of the field, and drivers don't get discussed that often. Started actually in 2009 when we had all these different start and park teams that came into the sport. Drivers just looking to make ends meet, really in a difficult financial time, and it really expanded to. It was from Cup only, then to Xfinity and trucks. And our writers, William Saki and Ben Schneider, that are on the site too, they do this also with other divisions at the same time too. But yes, recently, the last couple of years, one of the teams that we were covering, it was actually the ARCA series, was saying like, okay, well, you keep these rankings on the site, like who has the most last place finishes each year. Do we get something for it? And I was like, do we get something for it? Like, I didn't even think anything about it. I just make a graphic on the website. That's it. So the idea of doing certificates came up, and this team was the first one that got one. And so these last couple of years coming out to Phoenix, whoever's in contention for what I call the LASTCAR Championship, I have certificates ready on that. And last year was Joey Gase in the Cup Series. It was Jack Wood in the Truck Series, and in the Xfinity Series. I mean, unfortunately, it was you, David, on that. So, but I just want to say, again, you were really cool about it. You're very, very professional. Everybody I talked to that weekend was cool about it, and I think, it's never the objective of the site isn't to, put this out there and be like, haha, like, we're, criticizing somebody for having last place runs. What I even write on the certificates is, look, recognizing your endurance in the face of adversity, because I think that's one thing that every racer understands, is that this is a very humbling sport. You can be the race winner one day. I mean, look what's happened to Jeremy Clements just these last couple of days. I mean, you win the race, and then the next day you get this, this awful news about this technical infraction. It could go one direction or the other. But, I mean, there's been other drivers that have been LASTCAR champions in the past. Jeff Gordon would have got a LASTCAR certificate in 1993. And look what, his whole career has been. It's never a measure of, it's not meant to be an indicator of futility, but more, determination. And David, if you don't mind me saying, yeah, you definitely represent that from all the different teams you've raced for and how long you've, contributed to the sport versus a fan and as a driver.
I appreciate, I mean, it's a cool award, like I told you, I was a little shocked when you presented it to me. I was honored to get it, but I wouldn't, I'll let you know. I was like, man, you're not proud of that award. It's, I think I told you, you're talking about a team that had a lot of heart, a lot of passion, a lot of desire, and a lot of drive, and a lot of times those things, under the circumstances of what your budget looks like for the year, kind of dictates the quality of team you get, and I was driving for MBN Motorsports, my buddy Carl Long, who used to work for us at Spears Motorsports when I drove the Spears truck forever. And Carl was just a great guy, a great race car driver, great mechanic, fabricator, everything. And, years later, I find myself driving for him. It was pretty cool. He's a great friend, but we didn't work on really the biggest budget, probably one of the smallest one in the sport. And, and as a competitor, a winner, you're doing the best you can with what you have. And with the type of budget we raced on, I mean, it was amazing some of the finishes we got, but it was also just as frustrating when your equipment, when you didn't have the level of equipment it takes to be really, really competitive, and maybe a racing team has to run another race on an engine when it needs to really be rebuilt, or using used parts because you can't afford to replace them yet. And when you do stuff like that, the risk of having a mechanical problem, it makes it so much higher. And the drivers just, when they drop the green flag, the only thing I got on my mind is trying to win and pass every car you can in front of you. And then when you have a mechanical problem, knocks you out of the race, it's tough, and, not only myself, I think, like you said, Jeff Gordon and others, we all been there and done that. And a lot of the drivers, different drivers, I won't mention names over the years, I said, hey man, just stick after it. You're a winner just to be competing at this level. And do you know how many millions and millions of men and women out there racing across America on these short tracks would love to be in your shoes? You've earned it. You've won races, you won championships. Obviously, the talent level it takes to race at the elite levels of all NASCAR series, trucks, Xfinity, and Cup. But it's just the situation you're in those present times. But anyway, I always let people know, hey, don't just remind yourself that you're a winner, you're a champion. And just because you don't have the big budget this year, don't mean that you won't next year. You know what I mean? And I just kind of encourage everybody to keep driving. That when you race and you have something break, or you just don't have all the funding you need, man, it always inspired me. And that passion to do good every week drives me to keep after it. You know what I mean? But I appreciate the awards, you know what I mean? Because sometimes when you got all those did not finish races, it's kind of cool that somebody's even paying attention to it. You know what I mean? But anyway, I love your passion and your love of the sport we all love. You know what I mean? And it's cool that that people are paying attention to some of those stories that kind of get left behind. You know what I mean? Because I can assure you that not only myself, but a lot of other drivers that don't have the biggest budgets, we're driving our tails off and not really spinning our wheels and not really going anywhere. But it'd be kind of nice if we could change spots for a weekend or two with some of those powerhouse teams to see how we would do. Because I can assure you that we could put it in victory lane just like they do. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, it's a cool award. I think it's cool that you recognize that. And, there's no shame to it at all. It's just a situation you're in at the present time.
Well, I do have good news as far as how this year's gone. You, David, have not had a single last place finish this year. So more than likely, you will not be a two-time recipient of this award.
Well, I mean, it's just, man, it's, for all these years, 24 years I've been doing this, I've had some pretty good luck over the years. And this year, I mean, got a great team, great crew chief, and great teammate, great sponsors, and just, man, we just had bad luck all year long. You know what I mean? It just, if something weird would happen, it would happen to us. But man, you just keep your head down and keep working, and just be thankful that you even have the opportunity to race at the level we race at, because just to compete at this level is not easy. There's a lot of challenges and there's a lot of variables. It's just not talent anymore that keeps you there. It's it's funding, sponsors, and so anyway, it's there's a lot to the sport and a lot to being able to compete out there. But I love it that somebody recognizes the hard work and the dedication and the agony of defeat at times when you have mechanical problems and you end up finishing last a lot. You know what I mean? It's good that there's an award for you.
Oh, exactly. Well, and again, that means so much that you recognize that as well, David. So I do appreciate that. And also, I mean, these stories at the back of the field, I mean, it's not, I think the worst thing that happens from the way a lot of these stories are shown publicly, like on TV, is it seems like it's open and shut. Like he ran 20 laps and he fell out. It's like, for example, in one of your runs last year, when you were shown in last place, you actually came back out and you were driving in place of, I think it was CJ McLaughlin at the time.
Atlanta,
then, yeah. So, I mean, that was one, and I don't think it got a second of coverage on TV, but I mean, it was very impressive because I think that was a really hot day. I believe McLaughlin,
it was
or something.
It was awesome. Whoever the driver was, you might have mentioned his name, but unfortunately we got tied up in a wreck, knocked us out, had a great car, and man, you're disappointed. You got to go to the infield care center. Once I did that, I'm walking over to my hauler. I got to talk to my team owner for a minute, talk about what happened, analyze a little bit, and then I was going to go change it, man. And the team came running and said, "Hey man, will you jump in our car? Will you jump in our car?" I said, "Well, hell yeah. What car is it?" And said, "Well, what's going on?" "Well, the driver's heat exhaustion or whatever." And it said, the AC's not working, and I'm saying, "Well, really? And I was like, man, I'm thinking in my mind, hell, I don't even have an AC. You know what I mean? So, man, I jumped in that car and it was several laps down, but it was amazing how fast it was. And, man, I remember when I got in the car, the guys got excited. They said, man, your lap times are awesome. We were passing cars, good cars, you know, and, you know, I wanted to make sure that I wouldn't get anybody's way because we were 8 or 9, 10 laps down. I don't remember what the problem was, but anyway, man, the car was really fast and it was a different manufacturer than what I had been driving that day. And I remember when the race was over with, I was telling Carl Long and my crew chief, I said, hey man, this car, when you go off into corners, I mean, it's got some serious downforce. Cause I mean, I could ride it deep in the corner, kind of get out of the gas about half throttle for a second and go back to it. And that thing stuck. It was amazing, you know? And I said, you know, in the car that we had wrecked in and I had gotten out of it, you know, I didn't have that type of downforce when I got in the car. So when I got into the corner, when it drove it deep into the corner and I had to wait a split second for it to front tires to gain some traction, be able to get to the gas. And it was decent. I thought we were pretty competitive, but it didn't have the downforce that this other car. So driving two cars in the same race on the same day, you know, man, what a big difference it was in downforce and how it drove. And we learned something that day. And it was amazing. But man, there's been a lot of stories over the years. Kind of weird. You can start a race in one manufacturer and then you end up finishing the race in another. You know what I mean? Nothing you're proud of, just kind of how the day worked out. But anyway, it was just kind of, you know, some of those interesting deals, stories that one day when you write a book, it'll be a chapter. You know, somebody said, man, you know, AC's out. There's no AC in it. Well, I said, well, hell, I don't use an AC anyway. You know what I mean? It's like being from Texas, I'm kind of used to the heat and I'm pretty serious about what I do, especially racing wise. You don't want to ever fall out of the seat per se, where you get tired or you need to take a break. I mean, you're 110% from the time they drop that green flag to the time the checkered waves. And if you're not, I don't think you're very serious about what you're doing. You know what I mean? So anyway, I just, you know, everybody's different, you know, how you take care of your body and how you view all that. But anyway, that was kind of a cool day.